All right, Pokemon fans, we are getting this guy going. We have our next matchup going on here. We're starting a little bit early, I believe. We are looking at the Stunky business versus the Manitoba Mankeys. Now, this Manitoba Mankeys team does feature Mega Gengar, Mega Sableye, Azumarill, Como-O. What they brought here, though, for this match, this 6, is Fortress, Azumarill, Como-O, Altaria, and then Sableye and Gengar. This will be an interesting matchup if we're looking at some Perish Trap shenanigans. On the other side, I know I was a bit late on what we were looking at there, but we're looking at Espathra, Feraligatr, Liepard, Glamora, Primarina, and Audino. Now, the Stunky business have decided to lead with Liepard and Audino, while the Manitoba Monkeys have led with Como-O and Altaria, a bit of a Dragon Core. Let's see what our first turn 1 play is here. There is not a lot of speed control on the board right now, but Liepard can hit Fake Out, and Altaria can click Tailwind. So we'll see what this looks like here turn 1. We do have that Fake Out going into that Altaria. Now, Como-O does rock the field with a bit of an Earthquake, causing a little bit of our decorations to shingle all over the place. Bringing Liepard below half health, and Audino with the big Thunder Punch here, looking for a Paralyze maybe. Doesn't get it, but it does show that Audino is carrying Thunder Punch to try and punish any potential flying Pokemon or get some Paralyzes going. We sit here with Altaria looking pretty safe here right now, but this Liepard is still on the field. Can do a lot of shenanigans with the Prankster ability here and preventing moves with its status. It can throw out a Thunder Wave or a Taunt. And it also has Parting Shot, access to Parting Shot here, but we do just see a swap straight into Glamora here, with Mega Glamora coming out on the field and Audino clicking Protect. We do see that Vacuum Wave coming straight into that Glamora spot. It does not create contact, so no toxic debris scattered on the field there, with Tailwind getting clicked by Altaria this turn. Both Audino and Glamora have a bit of chip damage down on them, roughly 20-25% done to each of them. We do see Dragon Cheer from this Altaria into the Como-O spot, giving it that extra boosted crit chance ratio. Now, let's see how this Earthquake does. It does knock out the Glamora. Was that a critical hit, or is it just that 4 times effective? It was a critical hit. Huge play from Como-O and Altaria to give it a Dragon Cheer and make sure those crits start getting crazy. That does put our Stunky business here on a bad leg. We'll see if they brought Mega Feraligatr in the back, because they did not Mega Evolve that Glamora right there. This will be a much more interesting turn here as Liepard is back on the field. It does have a live Fake Out going, but who does it try to click it into this time, if at all? Because it could very well just go ahead and try to click Parting Shot. Gengar does come out onto the field here for the Como-O, with the Fake Out going into that Gengar spot now and making it a free turn, with Altaria getting up the Perish Song, making life a lot more difficult. Now, Stunky business can only swap out one of their Pokemon here. They only have 3 Pokemon left, so one Pokemon is going to get trapped on the field. We'll see if this Audino switches and this Liepard potentially has access to Parting Shot, so it could Parting Shot itself out of there, but we don't know. It has not revealed that yet. It has only shown us that it has Fake Out so far. And the Manitoba Mankeys are in a great spot right here. We definitely expect this Gengar to click that Mega Evolve button and possibly set up another Perish Trap right here. No swaps here right now. We just have straight Mega Evolution, as it appears the Stunky business are content to let their Audino go down potentially. Ooh, but the Gengar does not go for Parasong. It straight goes for some damage and some helping hand here, as the Shadow Ball into the Lipard does knock it out off the helping hand assist. No crit. That was just a lot of damage and not a lot of bulk from Lipard. Thunder Punch does connect with Gengar. No Paralyze here. And now we head into the final Pokemon for the Stunky business. This has not gone off to a great start for Stunky business here. They are in a rough position here, game one, with a threatening Gengar and Altaria looking to punish this final two Pokemon. No swaps left. Let's see if we see another Parasong land on the field and make it so that we are on a timer for everybody now. The Manitoba Mankeys do have all four of their Pokemon right now and have successfully executed some Perish Trap shenanigans and are just waiting on a current timer to fall down. As expected, Feraligatr does click that Mega Evolve button and becomes the big boy with the big helmet. And we'll see if it goes for a double edge or what move it goes into to try to eliminate some of this damage potential and the fact that Mega Gengar is just super prevalent. We clicked Protect on Audino. That does make sense. Do we see a Shadow Ball go straight? Ooh, Giga Drain straight into that Feraligatr. Does a little over half, even with that helping hand. The Feraligatr lives it quite well. And an Earthquake comes out. Is this Earthquake enough to get rid of this Gengar? It is not. The Gengar does live on 5 health here, with about 3% of its health remaining, 2% of health remaining. And the Perish Trap exists for Audino, but he is about to get knocked out here by that Perish Trap. And Gengar, all it has to do is swap out to keep itself on the field. Or rather, in play. We'll see what play is made here. I am expecting a double swap for this team, for the Manitoba Mankeys, as they look to keep things alive. They do not swap. They just go for pure damage here as they look to just get rid of this Feraligatr right now. And the turn does look like it's going to end with a 4 Pokemon knockout here, as all 3 of these Pokemon here should get knocked out by the Perish Song. Gengar is first to fall. It looks like Altaria to follow, and the Audino finally. But with the 2 Pokemon in the back, the Manitoba Mankeys have secured this game 1 in style. That game 1 got off to a rough start for the Stunky business there. They were not able to put any pressure on the field with that lead of Audino and Lipard. Let's see if they go to mix it up here for game 2. The Manitoba Mankeys were able to basically get their game plan off without much resistance at all. And that made it really tough for the Stunky business to catch back up into that game. Now again, Stunky business, they did have Mega Glamora there, which they decided not to Mega Evolve, and instead opt for Feraligatr in the back, who almost did one-shot that Gengar, but now we know that it was not a one-shot for that Gengar off of that Earthquake, so it has to be a little bit more planned around that. We'll see what changes get made here. There is a Spathra and Primarina in the back there for the for the Stunky business team to adjust to. Manitoba Mankeys, they did reveal all 4 of their Pokemon, but did not really have much problem keeping them on the field. They were able to pretty much play at will that match. In this match, we do have a switch up with Sableye and Gengar both on the field. Now, the Mega Evolution here can be either Sableye or Gengar, but it is most likely going to be Mega Gengar here to start getting shenanigans going for the Parastrap. But Liepard is on the field and is immune to Prankster from Sableye because it is a Dark type. Gengar, however, is not immune to any Prankster shenanigans from Liepard here, with this Glimmora sitting on the field right beside it. And if they decide to Mega Evolve, adaptability will hurt this opposing team quite well. With the only super effective move that Glimmora likely has here is Earth Power, possibly on that Gengar spot, but it is not a stab move, so it will not get that adaptability bonus. Light Screen does go up, making the team slightly bulkier, ensuring this Gengar will live for at least this turn. A Shadow Ball does come out into that Glimmora, bringing it down just under half health. A Toxic comes out. That might have been a misclick because Gengar is still a poison type Pokemon, even when it Mega Evolved. That Gengar is still alive after a knockoff. It did quite well with that damage. Let's see what this turn 2 has in store here. Gengar does click Protect to keep it alive for at least one more turn. What will Sableye do here? Glimmora does click Protect as well, trying to protect itself from damage this turn. The Encore into the Protect there. The Toxic would have been devastating, but if Sableye does click Encore again, it will lock that Glimmora into Protect unless there's a swap here. The good news is Liepard is at full health and does threaten this Gengar here, so a swap might be necessary to keep this Gengar preserved and able to play in the late game for the Manitoba Mankeys. The Glimmora does stay in, and Encore gets placed onto that Glimmora. Seeing the Protect, we do not get the double Protect. This Gengar will move next, and a Giga Drain into the Liepard, doing nearly 100% of its health. Absolutely devastating. But the knockoff does come out, and that should knock out the Gengar there because a Reflect was never put up. So the Mega Gengar goes down here. Now, as we saw in Game 1, the Gengar was mostly able to come in late and provide some good assistance there. In Game 2 here, it came out and led. We still have potential Pokemon on the back that can carry this battle for the Manitoba Mankeys. What Pokemon? Azumarill has come out for the Manitoba Mankeys, which means we likely will see a priority Aqua Jet coming down here on either the Glimmora spot or the Liepard spot. Now, the Glimmora is locked into Protect, and a Protect failed last turn, so Glimmora is guaranteed to click Protect here and get it. Now, I just realized that instead of Spiky Shield, Glimmora is running Protect for some reason. I don't know if this was a tech concern or just an oversight, but Spiky Shield is not going to be active and prevent any potential shenanigans. Now, Liepard does go down there to the Feint and Aqua Jet combo, Feint being plus extra priority to help get rid of Protect, just in case it went for Protect there. But now Mega Glimmora does come back in. It will not outspeed priority Aqua Jet, but now it is not locked into Encore and could potentially fire off a poison type move to potentially get rid of this Azumarill and put some good damage down on the Sableye. A crit would be needed though, as the light screen is still up for a couple more turns here. One more turn here. Let's see what the Espathrid gets off to here. It could try to set itself up for some Speed Boost Calm Mind plays. And Fortress leads up the rear as Sableye goes for skill swap, giving it self-adaptability and Glamora Prankster. Mortal Spin does come out, but Fortress is a steel type and is not going to be affected by it. Now, this Mega Glamora does seem to be a mostly supporting style Pokemon here, with Toxic and Mortal Spin on the field. A Calm Mind by the Espathra does go up, but this Sableye no longer has priority Encore, so it cannot lock Spathra into the Calm Mind before it can fire off another move. And the stored power would likely hurt this Fortress a decent amount, probably taking about a third of its health. Glamora does click Protect here, scouting out for any potential damage here from either Pokemon. Espathra does as well. This will give Espathra another speed boost here. But the Sableye, savvy as ever, just sets up another light screen, making it more difficult to get rid of Pokemon on the field, and a Gyro Ball does come out. But it did go into the Glamora, looking to get rid of that over the Espathra right now. But both Pokemon did click Protect, so they were both safe this turn from any potential damage from non-Unseen Fist or Phantom Force moves. This Sableye has stuck around for quite some time, making quite a mess of things for the Stunky business team. Primarina does come out here with the Power Gem going straight into this Fortress, doing a good chunk of damage, about a third of its health here, as Fortress is that Bug Steel type. Now that Gyro Ball does go into that Primarina, doing good damage here, about just under 50% here. Putting this Primarina on notice here and not at full health. Now, the Primarina did not have any leftovers recovery there, so we aren't sure of the item just yet, but it looks like there will be no extra recovery for it unless it has a potential move to help along with that. This Glamora is putting in some good work here all of a sudden, but it goes for Protect this turn, going for more of a passive move, as Feint is clicked into this Primarina spot. And Draining Kiss right there to help recover that health. We do see that health recovery there, giving back Primarina a great chunk of health, almost all the damage that Gyro Ball and that Feint did right there, putting it back up to about 90% of health with the Shell Bell, bring it almost nearly back to full health. With that, Fortress putting Primarina back to the same amount of health that it had the first time it used Gyro Ball, so a little bit of a low damage roll this time. So we've seen the high and low for that damage roll for Gyro Ball for that Fortress. With Azumarill now coming out, the Stunky business have found themselves in quite a good positioning, having gotten rid of Gengar early, making it so that it could not disrupt and destroy the game plan for Stunky business this time. This Fortress does find itself in a bit of a sticky situation here, as I don't know if it can live both a Power Gem double up and a Hyper Voice off that boosted Primarina here. Which it does come out, knocking out the Glamora. Excellent choice here, as Primarina will move next here with that those plus stats in speed and special attack. That Hyper Voice knocking out the Fortress in a big way. The critical hit doing so much damage there. This Primarina has made it a 2v1 situation here with a Spathra coming back out versus this Azumarill, but This Azumarill will be in a bit of a tight spot here unless it can put up some big damage on either of these Pokemon this turn. Now, Huge Power is a great ability, but can it save the Manitoba Mankeys here and go 2-0? Or will it fall and we'll head to a Game 3? A Draining Kiss on that Azumarill shows that that Primarina is not very offensively built, and that +1 or 2 in special attack, even with that, only did about 25% to that Azumarill, who takes that Lumina Crash very poorly, and with that special defense minus there, -2. Ooh, the Espathra goes down in one shot there, but that Lumina Crash, I think, is just going to be too much for the Azumarill to take because it now has a -2 in special defense. And that light screen did wear off. It was helping Azumarill take some of those hits. I did forget about that for a second. Sableye continuing to put in work no matter what, and that Primarina knocks out the Azumarill from just over half health with that Draining Kiss, ending the battle and giving the Stunky Business a victory, knotting it up here at 1-1, which we now head into Game 3 here in a moment. That Game 2 went incredibly well there for the Stunky Business, able to get rid of that Gengar early on, and Sableye seemingly for no reason giving up its Prankster ability to take on Adaptability when its only attacking move was Feint, a normal type move that does not get stab bonus from Sableye. We've been treated real great here today. We've had plenty of Game 3s when we didn't have one at all this prior week. We do love a back-to-back Game 3, everybody, and this has been quite a good one here, with pure dominance being shown on either side. It looked sketchy at first for the Stunky Business, but they were able to secure that knockout with knockoff Liepard into that Gengar, and the battle really unwound for the Manitoba Mankeys right after that. Let's see what this Game 3 brings for us here for leads. Does the Manitoba Mankeys, do they go back to that Altaria Como-O lead that they started with in Game 1 and start putting pressure immediately down with some Dragons, or do they go back to a new lead? The coach of the Stunky Business in the chat right now degrading themselves for some reason when they played a fantastic Game 2, and they have no reason to think that they won't be able to do well here in Game 3. A lead of Espathra and Liepard does come out, putting some instant pressure on this team with Altaria and Como-O as their lead from Game 1 back in play here. But what do they do against this Espathra, who most assuredly will either click Protect to get a speed boost or Calm Mind and get some stat boost going here to potentially feed into that Primarina in the back, who we know has Draining Kiss now, which is incredibly effective against both of these dragons. We have the Helping Hand from the Altaria into the Como-O, the Fake Out into the Altaria, but it is not good enough, as now the Como-O will get a good move off. The Lumina Crash coming in, almost one-shotting this Como-O, but what will the Como-O do here, as it has a Helping Hand boost? Clanging Scales, which will do a ton of damage, knocking out the Liepard in one shot here, as Espathra stays on the field, but Como-O is now in a bad position here. The Espathra getting the leftovers and activation here at the end of the turn. That Lumina Crash is devastating for that Como-O, as Espathra will be able to outspeed all Pokemon on the field now, and Feraligatr coming in to stand right next to it. This Altaria is in a bit of a spot here. It did click the Helping Hand here, but now the Como-O can survive at least one more turn, and Espathra will start going off with its speed boost ability here, making it so that it can't be outran by Tailwind. The Spathra does click Protect here to get that second speed boost going on and keep itself alive for a turn, with the Como-O also clicking Protect here to survive another turn. And we possibly have a low battery warning here for one of our players here. The Manitoba Mankeys might be in a good spot with a bad spot with a low battery on their switch. All Pokemon stay on the field here. Nothing really happened that turn outside of Tailwind going up. And the Feraligatr not able to do any meaningful damage here, as it did not go for the Altaria. Now, this Espathra does have a +2 in speed and will be able to outspeed this Como-O still, because we saw at neutral speed that it was able to outspeed the Como-O. A baton pass into the back here, bringing in a new Pokemon to the field. Let's see who it brings in. Is it going to be the Primarina that did a ton of work last game? Dragon Cheer with that Como-O, absolutely helping out here. Clanging Scales, that Feraligatr will take quite a bit of damage here, possibly a critical hit as it gets one shot. A possible critical hit here being undoing for Feraligatr. No Aqua Jet from that Feraligatr, meaning it could not take out that -1 Como-O there, and it gets to get off that Clinging Scales for free. We have a Spathra and Primarina on the field. Now, this Primarina may not be able to outspeed Como-O like a Spathra could with that double speed boost there. And with Como-O still on the field and helping hand click from Altaria, that Feraligatr, I'm sorry, the Dragon Cheer from Altaria. can't talk. Can you hear me? Perfect. I can hear you now, so... And this game is now going to be over with Primarina and Espathra going down to the Parish Song this turn. And stay tuned, folks. Taco did join the chat with Snoozy, so we may have another match here coming up shortly after. With that, the Manitoba Mankeys do take this round 2-1 from the Stunky Business. Now, that game 2 for Stunky Business did go exceedingly well, but in game 3, that initial lead of Altaria and Como just proved to be too much for the Stunky Business to handle here, and the Manitoba Mankeys walk out of there with a victory 2-1 today to round out their week 1 matchup.